Hey guys, how's it going? Back with another episode of 10-minute trades, and I'm going to do a throwback back to AMD. It's been quite some time since I've done the AMD 10-minute trades video, but I did do one earlier if you want to go check that out on my YouTube channel. But I'm not going to go through every single trend line and gap that I've drawn here because that's already in the other video and I don't want to waste your time. But I do want to give an update video about what AMD has been doing the past few trading days since I've made that video, and also kind of give a prediction about where I think AMD is going to go next. There's been a lot of news on AMD, especially just in the past few trading days, and that's why I'm making this video. So stick around to the end and you'll know what my thoughts are. Obviously nothing is financial advice. These are just my opinions, and no technical analysis, no matter what anybody tells you, is ever 100% accurate. If it was, I wouldn't be making YouTube videos. I'd just be trading and making money every single day. But let's get right into it. So for the past about week to 2 weeks of trading of AMD, you can see ever since September 24th, before that, from about September 2nd to September 24th, that whole month, we were in pretty much a downward trend on AMD. But then thankfully on September 24th, we reversed that trend, and from about September 24th to really October 8th, or the day before October 7th, we were in this big uptrend. We actually had 6 green days in a row, 1 day of pullback, another big green day, a little bit of a pullback, green day, pullback, and then today, October 9th, we had a pretty decent pullback again. So some of this is news driven because this run up is probably also a part because this past week, AMD had their Zen 3 launch event party. So they released the specs and the price points of their new Zen 3 CPUs. And that day, there was a big run up. As soon as the conference started, we immediately started selling off. Probably a situation of buy the rumor and sell the news. If you haven't seen my other AMD videos from this week, check it out. I comment on what was happening day to day and what my trades or my thoughts were. But today, overnight, between October 8th and October 9th, basically, news broke that AMD is in talks to buy out a company called Xilinx or Xilinx. It's XILINX, I believe, ticker symbol XLNX. And part of the reason they're doing that is, I believe, from what I've read, Intel recently bought out a similar company. So this will allow AMD to compete better against Intel. So usually I've been told that when a company acquires another company, they usually overpay by a little bit. So AMD, as of right now, the rumor is they're going to buy XLNX for $30 billion, right? So that money has to come from somewhere. So that might have been why there's a little bit of a sell-off. We had a red day today. But I think from a midterm or a long-term perspective on AMD, for those of you that hold shares long-term for AMD, or maybe you're buying leap options, or you're looking at far outdated calls, or maybe just wheeling like I am by selling cash secured puts and then holding the shares and then running the wheel and selling covered calls along the way, I think in the mid to long term, we're going to be just fine because this is going to allow them to compete more with Intel, maybe take over more market share. I mean, based on the Zen 3 chipset that was released this week, they are going to basically, I think, outperform anything Intel has to offer for a similar or cheaper price point. So now if they can compete even more with Intel, well, honestly, I'm looking really good at buying more shares or selling more options, more bullish options on AMD for the mid to long term. But what was interesting that happened the past few trading days, you can see on October 6th here, we confirmed, and then again the next day on October 7th, that we broke above this level of what was once resistance at about $83 and some change. And if I zoom out, that's actually right at the 23.6% Fibonacci level. So I'm going to zoom back in here. These are daily candles, so each candle represents 1 day of trading. And then 2 days ago, on October 8th, I have an area of resistance that I drew at about $87, in the high $87, let's say somewhere between 87 and 88. Just remember, these are not hard, fast, exact numbers. These are more areas. So when I drew that, because if we go back here to September 3rd and also August 26th, you can see that we kind of topped out around $87, $88. So I thought that was an area of resistance. And actually it held up because you can see October 8th intraday, we got as high as almost $89, but we ended up closing the day down under this level of resistance at about $86.50-ish. So now that told me that it looks like AMD is going to want to trade still between about $83 and let's say $88, that $5 gap there. So then today we opened up at about just shy of $85. We closed, as you can see, at just over $83. So again, we're pretty much right at this level of support. And if you look at the intraday wick here, we pretty much touched this pink line, which is the 50-day moving average. So right now, what I'm looking to see when we start trading again on Monday is where is AMD going to open up and where is it going to close. If we close above $83 on Monday, then that tells me that this is going to stay as support, at least for the short term, and we're still going to trade in this $5 gap between about 83 and 88. Now, if we don't, if we kind of trade below 83 all day long, my next level of support is going to be this 50-day moving average, which is going to be at about $82. So that's really the level, if we stay under 83, that I'm going to be looking hard at. Because right now, we are trading above this pink line and this orange line. The pink line is the 50-day moving average. The orange line is the 21-day moving average. So the fact that we're trading above it is bullish. But I think if we break down past the 50, the next area of support is going to be at about $80, $81. And that's because if I zoom out, you can see back in mid-August, it was acting as support for a few trading days. And then back in mid-September, you can see some of these wicks got awfully close to this level around $78, $79, but also down here at about $74, there's another area of support. You can see again in mid to late September, bunch of times, bunch of candles, bodies, and wicks bounce off $74. So I think for the short term to mid-term, our levels of support that I'm going to be watching are first $82 for the 50-day MA, about $81 for this trend line that I drew, then about similar $80 to $81 for the 21-day moving average, then $78, and then $74. And then if I zoom out here, these light blue lines represent gaps, because right now from about $71, $72 to about $74, this is kind of a no man's land. There's a gap here that may get filled eventually. And further down from about $62 to about $64, there's another gap here. So my concern, my biggest fear would be that at some point AMD continues on a downward trend again and tries to fill these gaps in the low 60s and low 70s. We'll have to wait and see what the trend kind of develops, because right now we've had 2 red days in a row. Hopefully we can reverse that and kind of bounce off the 50-day moving average and go up instead of continuing this trend down and maybe bouncing up off some of these lower areas of support. But we'll have to wait and see. So just to recap, what I'm looking for the next trading day is going to be this 82 price level. And really, I want to trade and I want to stay above $83, because that tells me this level of support, which is also a Fibonacci retracement level, is going to hold up. Now, personally, I own shares of AMD at $85. That's what I was assigned at. So at some point, if I do think we're going to be in a short to midterm downtrend, I would want to sell off my shares for hopefully a profit. And if I want to, or if I need to, I can always sell more cash secured puts and buy in again on AMD at a lower strike price. So my struggle is going to be, don't get too greedy. If we are in downtrend, just cut your losses potentially, or take profits, even though if they're a few bucks or a few $100, profit is still profit. Because right now, AMD closed today at about $83. So I am actually less than my cost basis right now. So I'm actually overall in the red. So I am rooting for a little bit of a rally, and maybe I can sell off my shares if I think things are going to get a little bit murky. But that's my 10-minute trade analysis, my update on AMD. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Let me know what ticker you want me to do next. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And as always, happy trading.